Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. How are you doing today, Thomas Doty?
And it was 85 degrees here today, so I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Man, it was great here in the DMV. The temperature was wonderful. I wish I could have been able to get out there and play some golf, but I wasn't. But I'll catch them on the downside. So look, you all, thank you for tuning in. As always, we're so grateful that you spend time with us every Thursday. Today is April the 20th for all of you people to make sure you're on the right show and not on our archive shows. So thank you for tuning in America and around the world. Yes, we got a lot of people all around different places. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. Like always, just want to remind everybody, please click on the like button and the heart. That gives us more traction. And also, if you have a comment, something you agree on or something you disagree, or you just want to talk about another particular subject, please put it in the comment box, because the more comments you put in there, the better off and the more reach we have to be able to reach people. So really, 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 really appreciate y'all when you do that. Last week's show is You're Doing Better Than You Think. We decided to take, a moment and just congratulate people and pat yourself on the back for the good job that you are doing, because this wealth building thing is it's not easy. We make that known a lot of times. So we just wanted everybody to take a brief moment and take a deep breath and celebrate what you are doing right now. We've come into this week's show, which is our 97th show, though. We're on a roll, man. I mean, I'm like, wow. And we really haven't duplicated a show yet either. I mean, as far as topic-wise. But we really want to talk about, money lessons that you may have missed. We always talked about things and financial literacy and things we need to be getting. But we're going to have a good dialogue today about that. So with that, though, let's open up like we always do at the top of the show with an update of the stock market.
And I wish we had better news, but we've been saying this for a while, that things are going to be volatile for a while. We're getting a lot of earnings, companies' earnings numbers are coming in, and they are not as robust as people think they should be. So the market's had three losing days in a row. So things are not going real good. But if you look at the week to week, it's not really that bad. The Dow is only down 243 points. That's less than 1%. NASDAQ's down about 100 points, which is, again, a little less than 1%. Microsoft is still just kind of hanging in around that 290. Their 52-week high is 294. So they're still doing okay compared to other companies. Tesla is the one that took the giant hit. And they're more worried about volume now. So they've cut prices, I think, like 4 times already this year. And so their profit margins have dropped to about 20%. And funny thing is, their margins are still way better than any other automakers, but they're just down so far from where they were the fourth quarter of last year. And so they have a lot more volume, but a lot less profit. So and Musk has said that they are going to push volume, which kind of means they're going to continue to lower their prices. And they just feel that they'd rather have a lot more volume than a lot higher margin. So we can expect to see them struggle for a little while, but everybody's long-term thoughts on Tesla is still strong. Most of the analysts still have their target at around 200. So not to worry. This is just a stop along the way. Apple's
That's a big
almost
drop, though, don't you think?
Pardon me?
That's a big, pretty drop, 12%.
Oh, it's about 10%. It's almost a 10% drop. And again, it's just the fact that their numbers came out and their profit margins are lower, way lower than they were in the fourth quarter. But that's to be expected. Now, the analysts expected them to be slightly over 20%, and they were closer to 20%. And so everybody's kind of worried. And Elon Musk didn't really give them anything positive that says, they're not going to keep cutting prices. He's kind of saying every time the Fed raises interest rates, that raises the cost of the car. And so they feel in order to keep volume moving, they got to keep lowering prices. So between the uncertainty in the economy and the Fed still raising interest rates, that's why it dropped about 10%. So it's going to be crazy for a while. Apple's about flat. Pfizer's about flat. They're up. One's up one, one's down one, but it's still pretty much flat. So as we always say, you just got to hang tight through this. There are a lot more recession fears now than there were either last week or the week before, just because of some of the financial numbers that are coming in. And so it looks like what the Fed is doing is working, but because things are slowing down. But we'll see how it goes the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we got this summer coming up in June looming, the debt ceiling, and that's scaring people because they're talking about defaulting on America paying their debt. That would take a catastrophic effect. Hopefully they get their act together on Capitol Hill. Gold is pretty flat. It's still over $2,000, but I thought it was getting ready to take off, especially with everything else being down. You usually think commodities is the hedge against inflation, but it's just holding. And my OZOP, my super battery chargers, is up 2%, though, where everybody else is down. So I don't know what's going on.
That's a good thing.
I got my fingers crossed. So let's get into the cryptocurrency. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was killing with Dogecoin. The Dogecoin, I didn't even know, went up to 72 cents, right? And it started off like, 0.0000. And he was headed to making, at that time, it was close to 300,000 off of like, I don't know, maybe $1,000, man. And he stayed in because he said they were projected to go to $1. And you know what happened when Elon Musk came on Saturday Night Live and cracked that joke about cryptocurrency, and it ain't been up since. Matter of fact, it's still at 8 cents, and it was all the way up to 72. And he said his partners were killing, man.
You know what we say about that, Bobby? They always talk about the bulls and the bears.
Yeah.
Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs don't make crap.
Yeah. But the one thing he did, though, he had a strategy because he was taking money out. And he showed me he took out 19,000. He took out 5,000, when it was up. But when it got up to 300,000, he let it rock because he thought it was going to go to $1. And he got too greedy. But he did make out. He did make out because he only put only $1,000 in. And that's the key, you all. If you're in the crypto market, it's all about having the entry and an exit strategy. So let me just go with the crypto market is down by $63 billion. It's down to 1.2 trillion. It was at 1.3. That's a 5% drop. The Bitcoin, it dropped over $2,160 a Bitcoin, down from $30,431 to $28,271. That's a 7% drop. Ethereum, the smart contract, a 3% drop. And Dogecoin now has dropped from the 8th position out of the 9,000 cryptocurrencies. By the way, Bitcoin is still number 1. And so is Ethereum, number 2, and the Tether, which is a stable coin that's been holding, although it dropped by 1 penny. But that's dealing with the dollar because things have been going on with the dollar too. And Dogecoin is just staying at, around about 8 cents. And I told you, man, what did he tell me? Around 2021, it was like 72 cents. And that may not sound like a lot, but it came from 0.00001. Wow. And those increments really is a big jump. And Shiba, I think it's a dog. I don't know. I don't know, but but every now and then I get a notice and it says Shiba Inu is up 5%. And the people who got in early in 2000, because it used to be like about, I think it was like 8 to 9 zeros with the Shiba, behind the decimal point.
Right.
People who got in, when it went all the way up to just 4 decimal points, I'm talking about made out. So it's so crazy, you all. We talk about cryptocurrency. You must really understand what you're into, and don't have money in there unless you are willing to lose it. If you're looking for something, if you have something important to do within 1 to 3 years, the cryptocurrency market is not the place to be in. Just keep that in mind. So with that, dope, let's get into today's subject, man, which is I believe a really, really, really good subject. And the subject is money lessons that you might have missed.
Yeah. And Bobby, everybody wants to get better with money, whether it's making more money, spending less money, or if it's just building wealth to pass on to your kids and grandkids. And April is the beginning of Financial Literacy Month. And so it's a great time to take stock of your personal finances and make sure you got a plan to improve them. And, when it comes to money and understanding, it's a wide range of people. You got some people who don't even know what they need to know. Okay. And they're just operating blindly and missing opportunities because they just aren't aware. And each of these stages I'm going to talk about, I've been in each one of those. The next one is you don't put the effort into knowing. So there are things you should know, but you don't make the effort to really find out those things. And finally, you get some people who know and put the effort in, and for one reason or another, they still fail. And so you have that wide range of things that can happen. And, best case scenario is you know what you need to know. You learn as much as you can about it. You put the effort in to know and learn. And things should go your way. It'd be pretty hard for you to do everything you need to do and not end up in a positive situation at the end of that. So today we're going to talk about some of the simple lessons you should learn. Huh?
No, I was clearing my throat. Sorry.
Oh, we're going to talk about some of the lessons that you should learn and things you can follow to get smarter with your money.
And dope, man, there are many money lessons that we may have missed. I have taught financial literacy for over 30 years, and it amazes me still how many people don't even know about financial literacy. They have missed how important it is to this day. And a lot of us haven't made financial freedom as a goal because we were too busy living paycheck to paycheck or was more concerned about acquiring stuff, things, that have no value, no appreciating assets, So there are many, many lessons, many money lessons that we can catch up on. The money conversations, we had, back in the day was, and some people to this day have much to do about the money we don't have. And I see very few people talk about the money that they need to acquire. We're always talking about what we don't have, what we need to do. Well, today, we want to talk about some money lessons that you may have missed.
Okay, and the first lesson, and it's so different for folks who have not come from money. This one was a little difficult for me at first, but it starts with your mindset and how you think. Henry Ford, the car maker, has this quote that makes so much sense to me. Whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you are right. In other words, whatever you believe is what's going to happen. So, and money is the problem. It's our mindset. It's how we think about it. When we make a decision, we think we emphasize, and we should be trying to be logical and rational, but it's often our subconscious mind that's in charge. It's things that we may not know, are affecting our decisions, our attitudes, our beliefs, our values, things we've learned and experienced in life. And for folks who started with no money, most of those things are negative, and they aren't things that you should let drive your decisions. And so that subconscious programming drives our emotions, and it's probably responsible for 90% or more of the decisions we make every day. And that's the first thing you have to do, is realize a lot of the things you think are built on situations that weren't sound financially. And when it comes to money, it's incredibly emotional. When you dive deep into it, you find that our mind has coded a lot of unhealthy thoughts into the way we think about things. Money is usually at the top of the list. And because of this, you can think money could just trigger an emotional response in most people. So it's no surprise that America's number one cause of stress and anxiety is money issues.
Right.
It is. And so most of what drives our decisions, since it's in our subconscious, and it could start hitting you when you're 7 years old. And again, if you started with no money, most of those conversations was negative. And as Bob said earlier, most of it was the fact that we don't have any money. That's usually what you're dealing with. And so your focus is always on acquiring things. And so we can feel guilty, we can feel disappointed, embarrassed, and resentful because of what happened to us early in life. So when we talk about the psychology of money and the study of how we think and feel and what drives our actions, you have to change those and think about, start with a whole clean slate of where you need to be and where you want to go and the decisions you need to make to get to where you want to be. And so if you're open to exploring your money mindset, you can change that subconscious programming. Forget about the things that happened when you didn't have a lot of money, when you weren't thinking about the future, when your mindset was on building financial freedom, not on just buying things. Then you can change and you can start mastering your mindset of where you want to be in life, what role money plays in your life, and how it can help you get to where you want to be.
So that brings us to lesson number 2, though. Define the game you want to play. Now listen to that. Define the game you want to play. Warren Buffett said, if you've been playing poker for half an hour and you still don't know who the patsy is, guess what? You're the patsy. Now, what do we mean by the game? It's simply put, your game is the life that you want to live, both personally and professionally. It's who you want to become, what you want to achieve, what you want to contribute, and what you want to experience. Your game is different than mine, as it should be. Different than Dote's. My game is different than what Dote's is, and his different than mine, which it should be. Now, many people never define their game. And as a result, they end up playing someone else's game. And they never seem to understand why they can't get ahead. Because you know why? If you play someone else's game, you're rarely ever going to win. Why? Because you're their patsy. They're using you. You're the cog in the wheel that they're using. So define the game you want to play and then go to work at developing a plan to accomplish that plan that's for you. Now for me, I decided when I started playing pro ball to, get into being in the financial planning area, right? I became a stockbroker, and then I became a registered investment advisor. I was heading my way into becoming a CFP, certified financial planner. And I dedicated most of my early years into honing that craft, and after 10 years, I actually got an edge, and it allowed me, to get more into my company when I went to the FDIC. It allowed me to understand a lot more, and it helped me build the kind of wealth that can create financial freedom for my family. Now, my game was financial planning. Understanding the financial ecosystem actually is what I actually want to do. And my edge was my education, my experience, and my expertise, which it was hard to match. So as an investment advisor, I would talk to a lot of people about money, and most of the people that I talked to, they, especially back then, they weren't crypto millionaires. They weren't following the Reddit, messing around with the game stock and the AMC stock when all of that was just a fad and a FOMO, fear of missing out. They weren't day traders or experts in trading options or currencies like I was talking about commodities either. They took, their time, they took classes, they took online classes, and now they're masters of their game and they're masters of what they want and what their life, what they want their life to be. And they have an edge. And nowadays, like, social media seems to suggest that you build the edge. So developing your edge is a lot like compound interest. Return feels small at first, but with consistency and focus, your personal growth starts to explode, and it leads you into the future of really compounding success. So stop playing someone else's game. Instead, define the game you want to play, the life you want, the values that will drive your decisions, what brings you true joy, and find your edge to make it possible. If you don't, you'll play someone else's game and by someone else's rules.
Okay, lesson number 3, and this one hit me pretty hard. You have the power to give meaning to money. Since the beginning of time, society has placed a cultural significance on money. To the external world, money could mean convey status, fame, power, intelligence. People automatically assume you're smart if you have money. They assume you're successful if you have money, and other things to people who have it. And if you aren't careful, society and the external world can define the meaning that money has in your life. But here's a secret. There's a second and less discussed meaning of money, and it's personal and entirely internal. It's part psychology. That's how you think and feel about money. It's part utility, how you use it. And finally, there's a little bit to subjectivity, and that's your own personal choice. When money and how you use it is aligned with your values, the person you want to be and the life you want to live, that's when it gains real meaning in your life. And for the happiest, most fulfilled people, money isn't about fame, power, or status. Money is freedom. It's freedom from financial worry, stress. It's the freedom to choose how, where, and with whom you spend your time. It's freedom to define the person you want to be and the life you want to live. Money and your plan for it is the freedom to confidently control and shape your own future. And so the right plan for your money is all about giving you the freedom to live life on your own terms, as Bobby just said, by your rules. Of course, money isn't everything, but if it's used well, it can give you the freedom to do almost anything.
And though, so, saying all of this, when I was coming up, I don't even think I even knew the term financial freedom. I mean, I don't even think it was even posed as a mindset. How about you? How when you came along, what did financial freedom mean to you?
That wasn't even in my world. It never even crossed my mind. For most of my life, I was just into the grind. And I mean, when you got 4 kids and you got to get them through college, that you got to make sure they got a place to stay and got everything they need. That's pretty much all I was thinking about. And I wish I had this kind of information. I'm not sure how things would be different, but I think I would have been more relaxed about things. That's a stressful life. when you know you got 4 people who are dependent on you, and you gotta produce so they can accomplish what they need to do. And they probably would have did it had I been here or not, but still in my mind, that's what I was doing. So that was so far out of my realm of understanding, again, because I never thought that far in advance as I should have. I was never looking to the future. I had my head down into the grind. And that's what we're trying to get everybody to understand is you have to take a step back, look at the big picture, think about where you want to be, think about what you're doing, and then you can aspire to reach that financial freedom. But it wasn't until later on in life when I looked up and said, well, damn, you done saved a lot of money. So yeah, things are okay. You know, kids graduate from college, then when you ain't spending money on 4 kids, there's a lot of money left. I mean, once they're gone. So things just kind of worked out for me. I don't want to say by accident because I did work hard, but a lot of things went right, you know.
So dope. So my other question is this, because this is a show where we keep it real. Okay. So is financial freedom just a pie in the sky or a feel good thing for us to tell people? Or is that a realistic? Are you ever financially free?
Well, I think there are degrees of it. I mean, little things like if you have an emergency fund and your job is dragging you down, you can make the decision to leave and find another job. Okay, now I would never quit a job if I didn't have a job. But if you have the wherewithal to do that, then that's got to be a good feeling to be
Right.
able
Liberating.
to think that way. Okay, to say, this isn't for me, I'm going to find something else and have the confidence in yourself to be able to do that. Or the financial freedom to say, at some point in my life, I'm going to live where I want to live, I'm going to go where I want to go and do what I want to do. And so I think it is realistic. It's hard. It's hard to get there. And it takes a well laid out plan to make sure you make it. But I definitely think it's doable. I definitely think it's doable.
And I believe it is too, though, because a lot of times people challenge us on some of these things where we talk about, sit and wait till the market will come back, be patient. And they're like, easy for you to say, God dang, I'm dealing with bills and I'm dealing with immediate situations. But like we said earlier, though, it's so important to define, your goals. Define your plan, define your game, and try to stick to it because there's so much distraction out here nowadays. There's so much misinformation, that a lot of times people get caught up with trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to follow the wrong people because, they, like they said, my friend, he made all this money in cryptocurrency and they just, was flooding them. Like, man, get me in. How'd I get in? How'd I get in? But, I do believe that you can attain financial freedom. And
hey Bob, think about how much money you'd have if you had just been a little more thoughtful and savvy with how you spent money. If you
Wow.
took away the desire to impress, or I look back at money I spent, and again, had I had these conversations with myself at 30, I think I would have spent a lot less money than I spent. I probably would have saved a little more than I saved, and I probably would be in even a better position than I am now. But when you don't know, you don't know. And that's where we're trying to get people to understand. If you think about your values and what's important to you, and that's where you drive your money towards those things, you won't waste money. And when I say waste, I'm not saying you won't have any fun, you won't enjoy yourself, because you will, but you won't waste money. Every dollar you spend will be for something that you think is important, not for what the current fashion is or what everybody's doing or what everybody's driving. And I think that makes it easier to accomplish your goals.
And Doug, let me tell you. So you say, hey, Bob, you think about the money you spent. Doug, the money I spent on that Saab, I should have known with the name. It was Saab, a daggone Saab story. That's just one that I could have saved a bunch of money on. but though I want people to understand when we talk about goals and planning and defining your plan, it's so much predicated on your values. It's not just about your knowledge. It's also about behavioral finance. And when you're planning your own game, it's all about defining what is important to you. And once you do, is it your kids' education? Is it your retirement? Is it to be, real financially secure when you get to retirement? Whatever it is, you need to sit down and write it down and then prioritize 5 or 7 things and prioritize them and then go after them. That's why I was talking about that edge. Get better and understand your situation. And that way, it definitely becomes a lot more, I don't want to say easier, but more clearer. And it definitely leaves you stress. So, though, I want to talk about lesson number 4, which goes into you set the price of your financial freedom. And what does that mean? I define financial freedom as having enough income and the wealth to generate income to cover your lifestyle expenses for the life that you want to live. And that's not just income, but that's also included passive income, like other things that you do that you don't have to work hard and have it working for you. Like passive income is being in the stock market and being dope. We're not saying that's for everybody, but that's passive income where your money is working for you.
And like you said, Bob, it's like the tips in the T-bonds. You make $500 and overnight, and you didn't do anything to make that money.
That's what leads you to financial freedom. Putting yourself in a position to use these tools that we always talk about. And like we say, we don't favor anyone more than the other. We don't favor the stock market more than we favor annuities or bonds or cryptocurrency. We're just trying to give you the information to fit your game, to fit your plan so that you know what's out there, what's available, because when you're trading money for time, that becomes, a price that you have to pay. Financial freedom. For instance, opportunity costs. If you spend money on that Saab, you messed up the opportunity that I could have been putting it in something that could have been growing and building income for me. But that opportunity cost gets a lot of people, though. They don't realize once you spend over here, you're giving up the opportunity that you could have been doing something else to help yourself. Okay. Now there's a little example. You can think about it this way. If you need $400,000 a year in income to maintain your lifestyle, you need roughly $1 million to achieve
40,000.
What did I say? 400?
Yeah.
I meant to say 40,000. Thank you, Doe. You need roughly $1 million to achieve your financial freedom. It's just saying it's just multiplying whatever you make by 7 or more, however you want to do it.
4%. Yeah.
This is 4, right? In this case, or if it's 80,000, you need $2 million. If you need 120,000, you need $3 million. Your number is the price you're placing on your financial freedom. If lifestyle expenses increase, so does the price. So what most people do end up struggling to achieve financial freedom because they can't keep the price from rising because they keep buying and increasing their expenses on things that are not appreciating. It's really taking money out of their pocket, and so they continue to increase their lifestyle expenses, adding to how much wealth will be required to create the income they need to cover the expenses. Now, George Foreman, George, all them kids named George, he summed it up nicely. It's not about, he said, it's not at what age you want to retire. It's at what income that you want to be at, which income you want to have when you retire. And this doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a nice car, have a nice house, or a home by the lake. It simply means you should be aware of the impact these decisions have on your freedom. How you spend your money, how you spend your time, and the quality of your life. You set the price of your financial freedom. That's the beautiful thing about financial freedom. And every decision you make is either making your freedom more or less affordable.
Okay. Let's talk about creating an abundant mindset. And, another way to describe a successful money mindset is an abundance mindset. And that enables an individual to see more opportunities, options, and resources. Okay. It's the opposite of the scarcity mindset, the belief that there is not enough of these things that holds many of us back. You got to know that there's a lot out there. And so you shift from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset. It's not that simple. It's just saying, be positive. That's what people always say. Yeah, just think positively. But changing your beliefs is difficult, but it's not impossible. And again, so many of the things we've learned and incorporated into our thoughts are really negative, especially when it comes to money, because there's so many things we didn't know about money. So it's a lot of little small steps you have to take, and eventually you'll be able to make that big leap. And we've been telling you this since our first show. You have to set a goal, a challenge, and go big. Don't pick a little goal, pick something big. Pay off that student loan that's been a monthly drain. Uh, get to the gym, more than you've been going. Make a plan. Big goals won't be accomplished in one day. So brainstorm solutions. Think about how you can get extra money to accomplish those goals, or what things can you do to help you reach them faster. Understand your strengths and weaknesses, so you can really know what you can do to make more money. We can always hone in our skills and improve, and surrounding ourselves. We've talked about this a bunch of times. Surrounding ourselves with people that counterbalance our weakness. That's going to create a better you. Okay. You don't want to be around everybody who's just like you, because you won't learn anything from them. So get people who know things that you don't know, or are a resource for you and can help you answer things in your life that you need to get done. And replace but with and. So it's no longer about, I'd love to take that 2-week long trip to Europe, but I can't afford it. People with an abundance mindset will say, I'd love to take vacation, and here's how I'm going to get it done. Okay. And so acknowledge your money biases, eliminate that imposter syndrome that we told you about before, try to get that abundance mindset. And that's the first part into developing a successful money mindset. And it's not the end all be all. However, you take these little steps, you end up taking that big leap. You can grow wealth. You look back on your life, you'll be happy, and it'll be your choice of what you've done and what you've accomplished, not all these external influences and marketing and keeping up with the Joneses. And so our success or failure, put it in your hands, and you'll be happy with the results if you are in charge all the way through.
And that's the name of the game, though. If anything that our viewers get out of when we have our sessions is that you control your money and don't let your money control you. We're not saying everybody's going to be a multi-millionaire from listening to our show, but the main key is that you control your situation. Hey, Barry White say, play your game, baby. Your game, baby. Hey, if you got to be Barry White, come on, man. It's about your game. Hey, Dope, I want to put a challenge out there right now to the people who are listening, because we like to talk and distribute information, but right now I want you all to respond to us. We want to make this interactive. So my question is out there. Just put in the comment box what lesson that you have learned that may help somebody, or what lesson that you missed that would have made it better for you. Either one. We just want to take a minute or two, because we want this to be interactive. Put it out there. Think about it for a second or two, you all. and we want to get an exchange. What lesson did you learn? What nugget that helped you have that aha moment or that light bulb moment go on where you felt that you were better control of your money?
I'll start, Bob.
Cool.
And I think I mentioned it a while ago. I wish at 45 I had talked to someone who was 55, 65, and even 75, and just asked them, what kinds of things should I be thinking about? Because that was so far from my thought process at 45. And again, I would have gained some valuable information that would have made the transition for me into 55, 65, 75 a lot easier. But it's so far out of your life of where you're thinking that you don't worry about all the things that go along with being 55 or being 65 and going on Medicare, or being 75 and making sure you got all your ducks in a row and your trust and your will and all those things. I wish I'd had those conversations with people who had been through what I was about to go through.
Hey, so dope. The first one in. Love you so much, Kitty, for you jumping in and starting it as you always. I love that about you being so proactive. Kitty said, and check this out. Kitty said, I should have spent more money over the years. I was just banking it. Wow. I hear you, Kitty. I hear you, because a lot of people.
It's a nice problem to have.
I know. and we talk about that all the time when people spent, all their life trying to make sure they have a good nest egg when they retired in their 70s, and they found out they don't need it all. Now they got all this money and they got to sit down and determine who they're going to give the money to. So I hear what you're saying, Kitty. Garnett said, pay yourself first. That's a good one. That's another good one.
That's a standard right there. That one should be part of everybody's life.
Yes. Pay yourself first, because a lot of times we don't. We're trying to take care of our kids, take care of our, major obligations, but sometimes we forego paying ourselves first. Joanne said, the show helps me to have an open mindset. Amen. Amen to that. Dope. I want to jump in with mine. The money lesson that I missed. I wish I was a greater risk taker. I played it safe. If I
You
was,
still do.
that's how I am, dude. I'm who I am. Go ahead and crown him. Just crown him. Remember Dennis Green? Just crown him. He is who he is. Just crown him. But so dope. And that's funny you say. But believe it or not, I am better, because I got cryptocurrency. There was a time I wouldn't even bought no cryptocurrency.
Right.
So I'm trying
gold
to at it, but I wish that's the lesson I missed, that you gotta take a little bit more risk. We ain't talking about being very high risk taker. We're not even talking about being high risk. Some people don't realize that they're medium risk taker. And you know what a medium risk taker puts you at? If you own a home, that means that puts you automatically in the medium risk taking. But most people think they're low or very low. But I'm like, nah, some of y'all are way high risk takers than you think. And you could have capitalized on some of these markets that were doing well. Now, Modestine said, don't spend what you don't have. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So,
again, that's one of those things, Bobby, that's drilled in our head. When people think of can they afford it, the thought is, can I make the payment? And that is so backwards. If you want to ask yourself if you can afford it, that means you can write a check for it. If you can write a check for it, you can afford it.
Right.
If you can't write a check for it, you can't afford it.
Angela Grubbs Davis said, I also wish I was more of a risk taker and not so conservative in my financial decisions. I hear you, Angela. That's just what I was saying. I wish I would. Look, I say that, but I took a risk and bought that Saab. I could have put that. So maybe I am a more risk taker than I thought. That's what I'm saying, though. That's why it's so important, you all, to do a self-examination of what is of value to you, what is important to you, and put it down. Jot it down, a couple of them, then prioritize them, and then go at it. It's just that simple. The hard part is just putting it in action. The easy part is to sit down and write it down. The hard part is applying it and putting it in action and staying disciplined, and being accountable. That's the hard part when you go to put it in action. All of this, a financial planner can put the best plan together. You can put the best budget, but if you don't apply it, it's useless. It's senseless.
Hey,
But
Bob, and you said this several times about how much time people will take to plan a vacation, but won't take the same amount of time to plan their financial life. When you think about it in those terms, it kind of tells you you should be allocating some time in your week to think about your financial situation that has such a gigantic effect on your entire life. And most people don't, they do it when they need to do it. They do their taxes when they need to do their taxes. They pay their bills when they need to pay their bills, as opposed to taking some time out, even if it's an hour a week, and saying, okay, I'm going to look at my financial situation and adjust where necessary, and it's that important. And so if anybody who's listening has kids, make sure your kids see you do these things so they will incorporate these habits into their lives. Because most of your kids, just like we talked about today, we do what we saw our parents did. And all I heard my parents talk about was not having any money. So try to do those positive things that are going to show your kids this. You have to take time out to plan your financial future. That takes time. It truly does.
Kitty's on a roll. Kitty said, a couple of years ago, I decided to cash all them savings bonds that I had in my drawer and was tired of looking at them. 44 of them was much money. Wow. Go for it, Kitty. No, now I talked to you about the money lesson that I missed. And this is the money lesson that I got. I would always stop, and as busy my life was, doing so many things, entertainment, shows too, and working at the FDIC. When I saw a piece of literature about finance, anything about, about 401k plans, about, annuities, or about, insurance, I would take and read the article. That had helped me so much because, once again, my background wasn't in finance. My degree is in sociology and anthropology, but I just had this desire. Whenever something came across me, I would take the time and read it to know a little bit more about it. And then how I moved up to FDIC, whenever there was a training class and they gave us a personal training allowance. I would use it and I would learn more about the industry that I was in, which was in, accounting and finance and banking. And so that was a lesson I did learn. I said, man, don't be afraid to learn, Bob. Don't be afraid to read. So many people that don't read. I have some friends, and it's not that it's, right or wrong, but, they haven't read a book in I don't know how long.
That's scary.
And I get it. You have that choice and you can make it, but there's so much information out there now that is at your fingertips and is made so simple. But that's I just want to share the lesson that I did learn. Whenever something came across, I would stop and take the time to read. And just the article. I didn't have to read no 30-page book.
Yeah, Money Magazine was my savior. I started reading that magazine.
Oh, that was mine too.
Yeah, that was my go-to.
But you know why though? Why I did Money Magazine? Because they used to break it down simple. They would use pictures and graph, and it kept. That was my go-to.
Yeah, it's funny because you start seeing stuff, especially you get a magazine like that has so many varied articles. You start learning how much you don't know, and that's really, and it drives you to continue and to want to learn more.
And that's interesting though that you said, And that's what made me want to read the next article, because I realized just what you said. I'm like, Dad, I didn't know that. I'm like,
Exactly.
God, Jesus. I'm like, I don't know squat. So, let's go to our final summary and takeaways, because we talked about a lot, but let's bring it home as we always do. Let's go to the video, as George Michael used to say. Where is it? I lost where it is now. Okay, it is. All right, dope. The first one is, if you are playing someone else's game, you probably won't win. You can't be playing somebody else's game, especially if it's their rules. So make sure you understand the game you in. It's like we always say, you can't, be go to the coach and say it's a basketball game, and he asks them to put you in the game, and you're wearing a hockey mask and got a hockey stick. So know the game and understand what game you're in.
Okay, so that's the first step, is understanding the game, but then you have to understand the rules of the particular game you're playing. And that's very important too, because you can have on a football equipment and the game could be football, but you might be playing touch and everybody else is playing tackle. Okay?
Right.
So you got to know the rules of the game, of exactly what it is you're trying to do. Make sure you understand what it is you're trying to accomplish.
And define how to win the game. And how do you do that? By, putting a plan together, by being disciplined, by really, thinking about your financial horizon, thinking about what risks are you willing to take. Define how to win the game. And once you come up with those variables, it'll help you be able to succeed. And, results breeds success.
And what's the win? What is the win? The win is financial freedom. It's being able to do whatever you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it with. And that's a wonderful thing. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but it's financial freedom in your mind, of you accomplish and can do what you want to do.
And financial freedom isn't free, meaning it's a cost. Just like I talk about the opportunity cost. If you're going to spend the money for something over here, that means something over there you may not be able to have the money for. So the cost of freedom isn't free, is what we're saying. So, and you gotta really give up something to get something. And financial freedom is the goal. That is the win, no doubt about it. But like me and Dodie always say, building wealth is just not easy. It's just not free. It's going to cost you. But the cost could be just time. The cost can be just sit down and planning and defining what that win is. So, dope. Once again, I believe we had a wonderful show. There was a lot of information. I know we come from a different perspective a lot of times. And Kitty said, wish I had a financial advisor mentor early in my career, so I too would have been more of a risk taker. Yep. And Rodney, hey, Rodney, what's up? TheNoteExperience.com, Madison Senior said, love your summaries, bringing it all full circles. Well, thank you all once again. Thanks for participating on our little survey about money lessons learned or missed. We're here next week, as always, at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So thank you all, and look forward to seeing everybody next week. Thank you all who's staying up late, 1, 2 in the morning over there in England and Scotland. We appreciate y'all. Dope. Any final words?
Nope. Long day, my brother.
And long day. All right, you all have a good day, good rest, and have a wonderful weekend until next week. Peace.